A broke woman wrote a children's book in 1868 that parents are still trying to ban today. Little Women has been called more dangerous than social media for teaching girls one terrifying lesson. You don't have to choose between love and career. You can demand both. School boards across America are removing it from libraries right now, calling it a threat to traditional family values. What Louisa May Alcott dismissed as harmless family stories became the weapon that convinced generations of girls they could have everything. The year was 1868, and Thomas Niles of Roberts Brothers Publishing House was persistent. He'd been pestering Alcott for months to write a girl's book, but she found the prospect utterly tedious. The negotiation was brutal, Niles offering $300 for a manuscript, while Alcott's family owed money to grocers, landlords, and creditors. Her sister Anna's husband had deserted the family, leaving more mouths to feed. Her father Bronson's latest philosophical venture had failed spectacularly, and their Concord home faced foreclosure. "I plod away," she wrote in her journal, "though I don't enjoy this sort of thing. Never liked girls or knew many, except my sisters, but our queer plays and experiences may prove interesting, though I doubt it." But here's what made her desperate enough to agree. She'd been working as a seamstress, governess, and hospital nurse to keep the family afloat. Her hands were permanently stained from sewing piecework late into the night. She'd already sacrificed her own romantic prospects to support her family, and now Niles was asking her to write about the very domestic life she'd been forced to choose over adventure. What she dismissed as family oddities would become the blueprint for modern women's liberation. Alcott was already 35, a successful writer of thrillers published under fake names. She wrote stories filled with passion, revenge, and melodrama, hardly the wholesome fare expected from a woman author. But financial desperation drove her pen. Her father, Bronson Alcott, was a brilliant dreamer and an utterly useless provider. His most disastrous scheme was Fruitlands, a utopian commune where the family nearly starved because Bronson believed farming was beneath philosophical contemplation. They ate only vegetables, wore linen instead of warm wool, and nearly froze to death during a Massachusetts winter. When the experiment collapsed after 7 months, neighbors had to rescue the Alcott women from malnutrition and exposure. His idealistic schemes consistently failed, leaving the family broke. Sound familiar? In 2025, millions of families face the same crisis, one parent chasing dreams, while the other scrambles to pay bills, student loans, and rising rent. If you've ever watched a parent work 3 jobs while the other pursues their passion project, you know exactly what Louisa endured. She had become the primary breadwinner, and Niles offered good money for a girl's story. The America of 1868 was a nation transformed by civil war. The conflict had ended just 3 years earlier, leaving families scattered and women suddenly running everything, just like 2025 America, where remote work, economic uncertainty, and shifting family roles force us to redefine what normal looks like. Alcott drew directly from her own family's chaotic household in Concord, Massachusetts. The Alcott home buzzed with intellectual energy. Ralph Waldo Emerson lived next door and often joined their dinner table debates. Henry David Thoreau taught the Alcott girls to ice skate, and passionate discussions about abolition and women's rights filled their evenings. Yet beneath this stimulating atmosphere lay constant financial anxiety. Creditors regularly appeared at their door. The family moved 17 times during Louisa's childhood, always one step ahead of unpaid rent. The sisters had learned to entertain themselves through elaborate theatrical productions in their barn, complete with painted backdrops and homemade costumes. Louisa played all the villain roles, Anna took romantic leads, Elizabeth provided gentle musical interludes, and little Abby May designed costumes. These childhood performances became the March Sisters' attic theatricals, but what seemed like innocent play was actually their escape from poverty and uncertainty. This combination of intellectual wealth and material poverty became the March family's defining characteristic. Mr. March, absent as a Civil War chaplain, mirrors every modern family where dad's physical or emotional absence forces mom to hold everything together. Mrs. March, or Mommy, embodies the exhausted strength of today's working mothers, managing household chaos alone. The four March sisters spring directly from the four Alcott sisters, with Louisa transforming herself into the rebellious Jo March. If you're enjoying this exploration of how family chaos became revolutionary literature, make sure to subscribe for more stories that change the world. And let us know in the comments which classic author's family drama you'd like us to expose next. But here's what shocked everyone. Jo March was unlike any heroine American readers had encountered. She was awkward, hot-tempered, and fiercely ambitious. When Jo declares, "I want to do something splendid, something heroic or wonderful that won't be forgotten after I'm dead," she voiced what every woman scrolling through LinkedIn success stories feels deep down. If you've ever felt like settling for less would kill something inside you, you understand Jo's desperation. This became devastatingly clear in the book's most controversial scene. When Amy burns Jo's manuscript in a fit of jealous rage, she destroys months of Jo's work, her novel about family life that could have earned money they desperately needed. Imagine someone deleting your entire creative portfolio, your side hustle, your ticket out of financial struggle. Readers were horrified that sweet Amy could commit such betrayal, but Alcott was showing something revolutionary, that women's creative work mattered as much as men's. The scene still triggers fierce debates among readers today, with some calling Amy unforgivable, while others defend her as a realistic, flawed character. But here's what made parents truly panic: Jo's sacrifice of her hair. When the family needs money for Mommy to visit their dying father, Jo cuts off her beautiful long hair and sells it for $25. My hair," she sobs after the deed is done. In 1868, a woman's hair represented her femininity and marriageability. By selling it, Jo was literally selling her conventional female identity to support her family. If you've ever sold something precious, jewelry, electronics, anything to help your family survive, you feel Jo's devastation in your bones. Meg March, the eldest sister, represented traditional domestic dreams, but with brutal honesty. Her desire for beautiful things and social status wasn't condemned as shallow, but understood as human nature. When Meg marries her beloved John Brooke, Alcott doesn't present this as happily ever after, but as one choice among many. Meg struggles with marriage and motherhood realities. Her twins exhaust her. She resents John's work absences, and she mourns her lost freedom. Revolutionary honesty that mirrors today's social media versus double reality gap. Beth March, the gentle musician, anchored the family through every crisis until her death from scarlet fever provided the novel's most devastating moment. Alcott refused to sugarcoat Beth's illness, instead showing how tragedy affects entire families. When Beth whispers to Jo, "I'm not afraid, but it seems as if I should be homesick for you even in heaven," modern readers break down completely. The scene destroys viewers because Alcott based it on her own beloved sister Elizabeth's death. She was writing from raw, unhealed grief, something every family touched by recent global losses understands viscerally. Amy March, the youngest, was perhaps most controversial. Her artistic ambitions, social climbing, and occasional selfishness made her less immediately lovable. Yet Alcott defended Amy's desires for beauty, culture, and status as legitimate goals. When Amy abandons her artistic dreams after recognizing her limitations, she finds fulfillment supporting other artists, showing multiple paths to creative satisfaction that resonate with today's creator economy struggles. The revolutionary aspect of these characters lay not in perfection, but in complexity. Previous children's books featured perfect role models. Alcott's sisters argued, made mistakes, experienced jealousy and disappointment, and grew through failures. They felt real because they were real. Alcott had simply observed her own family and discovered that ordinary life, honestly told, was more compelling than fantasy. What happened next changed everything. Alcott proved that everyday family life could sustain narrative interest without exotic locations or dramatic plots. A Christmas morning with homemade gifts became as engaging as any adventure tale. Sisters staging plays in their attic created genuine drama. The texture of daily life, morning chores, evening conversations, seasonal celebrations provided rich material that modern family vloggers would recognize instantly. The dialogue in Little Women sparkled with authenticity. Alcott captured how families actually speak, the teasing, private jokes, affectionate nicknames, and emotional shortcuts developed over years together. When Joe exclaims, "Christopher Columbus," or when the sisters call their mother Mommy, these details feel lived in rather than invented. Readers recognize their own family dynamics reflected in the March household, creating immediate emotional connection that transcends generations. But here's the most dangerous part. The novel defied conventional expectations by refusing to end all storylines with marriage. While Meg marries her, John Brooke and Amy eventually wins Laurie's love. Joe rejects Laurie's proposal, shocking readers who expected romantic resolution. When Laurie declares his love, Joe tells him firmly, "I can't love you as you want me to. We don't suit each other." This wasn't just a plot twist, but a serious challenge to what constitutes a fulfilling life for women. When Joe finally accepts Professor Bayer, it's after genuine intellectual connection, not desperate settlement. This rejection scene triggered the first major fan backlash in American literature. Readers wrote angry letters demanding Alcott change the ending. Some threatened to burn their copies if Joe didn't marry Laurie. Parents worried their daughters would reject suitable marriages after reading such selfish behavior. Religious leaders sermonized against the novel's dangerous message that women could choose careers over family. The controversy continues today. Team Laurie versus Team Professor Bayer debates rage across social media, with passionate defenders arguing both sides. Little Women appeared at the perfect cultural moment. Post-war America was questioning traditional gender roles while craving stability, exactly like 2025. America navigating remote work, changing family structures, and economic uncertainty. Alcott provided both strong female characters who challenged conventions while embracing family bonds. The novel suggested women could be ambitious, creative, and independent while still valuing relationships. This wasn't compromise but integration, a vision that terrifies traditional values advocates even today. The book's immediate success surprised everyone, especially Alcott. Roberts Brothers sold out the first edition within weeks, and desperate fan letters poured in. Young women wrote asking for life advice. Mothers recommended it to daughters, despite worrying about its influence. One mother wrote, "My daughter has become quite impossible since reading your book. She refuses to consider marriage and insists on writing stories instead of learning proper housekeeping." But here's what nobody expected. The fan mail revealed how deeply readers connected with the March family's financial struggles. Girls wrote about recognizing their own families in the book's honest portrayal of genteel poverty. "Like Joe, I sold my hair to help my family," wrote one 16-year-old from Ohio. "My mother cried when I told her your book made me feel brave instead of ashamed." These letters showed Alcott that her reluctant work was actually revolutionary truth-telling about women's real lives. Alcott quickly wrote the sequel, but the first volume remained the most powerful and dangerous. The truth was darker than anyone realized. Through Joe's writing career, Alcott explored the tension between commercial success and artistic integrity, ironic, given her own conflicted feelings about the novel's worth. Joe's sensational stories mirror Alcott's pseudonymous thrillers, while Joe's eventual turn toward serious fiction reflects Alcott's artistic evolution. Modern celebrities regularly credit Little Women as their formative influence. Oprah Winfrey calls it the book that taught me I could be anything. Supreme Court Justice Elena Kagan cites Joe's ambition as inspiring her legal career. Writer Roxane Gay credits the March sisters with showing her that women's friendships could be central to identity formation. Even controversial figures reference it. Ivanka Trump once called it her favorite childhood book, while Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweets about Joe's rejection of traditional female roles. Don't forget to share this video with anyone who needs to understand how revolutionary books emerge from the most unexpected family circumstances. The cultural earthquake, AI, Little Women, created continues today. It established the template for young adult literature, proving that books addressing adolescent concerns could achieve both commercial success and serious impact. Writers from Anne of Green Gables to Hunger Games acknowledge Alcott's influence in creating complex female characters, navigating real challenges while maintaining humanity. The novel's global success demonstrated universal themes, transcending cultural boundaries. Translations appeared worldwide, and readers everywhere recognized their own family dynamics in the March household. In Japan, the book sparked the Little Women boom of the 1970s, with Japanese women embracing Jo's independence. In India, it influenced women's education movements. In conservative societies, parents still worry about its influence on traditional family structures. Modern adaptations continue finding new audiences for Alcott's story because each generation discovers fresh relevance. Whether Jo's artistic ambitions resonate with contemporary career women, Amy's social aspirations reflect modern class consciousness, or Beth's gentleness provides refuge from increasingly harsh public discourse, the novel's flexibility allows readers to emphasize different aspects while maintaining the essential story. The 2019 film adaptation triggered fresh controversies when director Greta Gerwig emphasized Jo's career ambitions over romantic storylines. Conservative critics complained about feminist revisionism, while progressive viewers celebrated the focus on women's creative independence. The debates mirror 1868's original controversies, proving the book's revolutionary potential remains potent. The March sisters also pioneered female friendship as central to personal development. Rather than competing for male attention, the sisters support each other's dreams and help navigate disappointments. Their relationships demonstrate that women's bonds can be sources of strength rather than rivalry, a revolutionary concept that influenced countless subsequent works about female friendship and sisterhood, from Sex and the City to Taylor Swift's Squad. The financial success of Little Women transformed Alcott's life, providing the security she'd always sought for her family. The book earned her $8,500 in its first year, equivalent to over $200,000 today. She could finally pay off family debts, buy a proper home, and support her aging parents. Yet she never reconciled herself to being known primarily for what she considered lesser work. She continued writing experimental fiction, but readers always demanded more March family stories. The tension between artistic ambition and popular success became a defining theme of her later career, something every content creator today understands intimately. Perhaps most remarkably, Little Women achieved revolutionary impact through seeming conservatism. By focusing on family life and moral development, Alcott created a Trojan horse for progressive ideas about female autonomy, creativity, and friendship. Readers absorbed radical concepts about women's capabilities while enjoying heartwarming family stories. This subtle approach proved far more effective than direct political advocacy, reaching audiences who might have rejected more overtly feminist messages. The novel's treatment of financial stress also broke new ground. The March family's genteel poverty wasn't romanticized or ignored, but presented as a real challenge requiring practical solutions. When Jo sells her hair to contribute to the family finances, when Meg makes her own wedding dress, when Amy learns to value character over wealth, these moments acknowledge economic reality while maintaining dignity and hope. Alcott understood that financial anxiety shapes family dynamics and personal choices, something every family navigating 2025's economic uncertainty recognizes. But here's what makes Little Women still dangerous in 2025 school boards continue trying to remove it from libraries. The Highlands County School District in Florida recently challenged it for promoting rebellion against parental authority. The book appears regularly on conservative family blogs' lists of books that undermine traditional values. Parents worry their daughters will read Jo's story and reject domestic happiness for selfish career ambitions. These modern controversies prove Alcott's revolutionary vision remains threatening to those who believe women should prioritize family over individual fulfillment. The book continues inspiring girls to demand more than previous generations accepted, to view marriage as one option among many rather than life's ultimate goal. Don't forget to share this video with anyone who loves discovering how family chaos becomes cultural revolution. Subscribe for more stories behind literature that still threatens the status quo, and leave a comment about which sister you most identify with and why that might worry traditional values advocates. Louisa May Alcott died thinking she'd failed as a writer. She had no idea she'd just handed millions of girls a weapon disguised as a bedtime story. Every time a woman chooses her dreams over society's expectations, every time she refuses to settle, every time she demands more, she's channeling Jo March. And that's exactly why they're still trying to ban this book 157 years later.